You know those days where the news just feels like a fire hose of totally random, chaotic headlines? A tech company hits some insane new milestone, a CEO makes a massive bet, and meanwhile, two global superpowers are fighting over a social media app. It all seems disconnected, right? Well, what if I told you that on one single day, all these stories weren't separate at all? They were actually all different pieces of one huge unfolding narrative about where power really lies today.
Okay, let's just dive right in with this number. $3 trillion. That's 12 zeros. And no, that is not a typo. It's also not the GDP of a small country, though it's getting pretty close. As of September 15th, 2025, that is the market value of a single company. This number right here, it sets the stage for the almost unimaginable scale of power we're going to unpack today. And that brings us to our first big theme, this completely new scale of power. We're talking about a level of wealth that is literally redefining what a corporation can be. And our main example? Google's parent company, Alphabet. On this day, Alphabet officially became the fourth member of the most exclusive club in business history, the $3 trillion Club. It's now sitting alongside Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA in a league that's just completely its own. And what's wild is this milestone came just 10 years after the Alphabet holding company was even created. But here's the kicker. This final push over the finish line wasn't just because of some new gadget or amazing earnings. Nope, it was fueled by a favorable antitrust ruling from a judge. The penalties were way lighter than anyone feared. And boom, the stock soared. It's a crystal clear example of how the line between corporate boardrooms and the halls of government is getting seriously blurry. So, with all this power, where is it being used? I mean, it's not just sitting in a vault somewhere. It is being actively fought over on the world stage. The new global battlefield isn't necessarily fought with tanks and soldiers anymore, but with tariffs, regulations, and multi-billion-dollar corporate deals. And on the very same day, get this, officials from the US and China were locked in these high-stakes negotiations over in Madrid. And what was the big topic? The fate of TikTok. Yeah, this isn't just about a fun video app anymore. It has become a major pawn in the escalating tech Cold War between the world's two biggest economies. So the US Treasury Secretary comes out and announces a framework deal has been reached. And you hear him frame it as a deal between two private parties, but come on, the subtext is screaming loud and clear. The US government has been pushing hard for TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its American business or get shut down. This deal could be the path to make that happen. But then you get China's side of the story, and it really shows you the true stakes. Their negotiator confirmed the deal, yeah, but then he added this warning. The US should not continue to suppress Chinese companies. And that tells you everything. For China, this is not a simple business deal. It is a geopolitical maneuver, a direct response to what they see as economic bullying. And it doesn't stop with software and social media. At the exact same time, the battle is raging over the physical stuff, the actual building blocks of technology. China announced it was opening a probe into the US chip powerhouse, NVIDIA, for supposedly violating anti-monopoly laws. I mean, look at this. It reveals the dynamic perfectly. It is a clear tit for tat. The US puts the squeeze on a massive Chinese software company, so China turns right around and investigates a massive American hardware company. Every corporate move is now a chess piece in a much, much larger geopolitical game. But you know, this story isn't just about nations and faceless corporations. On this single day, we also saw the immense, market-moving power of individuals. These visionary, sometimes controversial, and incredibly wealthy CEOs whose personal decisions can send shockwaves around the globe. Case in point, this number, $1 billion. That's how much of his own company's stock Elon Musk bought in a single day. A massive personal bet on the future of Tesla. So this is what's known as an insider buy, and it is a huge deal. When a CEO puts $1 billion of their own money into the company they run, it's not just another transaction. It's seen as maybe the strongest possible signal of confidence. It screams to the market, I believe in what we're doing, and, predictably, the stock surged. Now, let's pivot from financial confidence to a very different kind of burden. On the same day, you have OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, the guy behind ChatGPT, admitting to the immense pressure he feels. This isn't about stock prices for him. It's about the moral weight of creating technology that could fundamentally change everything for humanity.
So while one CEO is moving markets with his billion-dollar checkbook, another one is grappling with these profound ethical questions. How should an AI respond if a user talks about self-harm? How does it protect our privacy? How do you stop it from being used to build weapons? These are the questions that are literally keeping these leaders up at night.
Okay, so we've got trillions in corporate value, billions in stock buys, and global power plays over tech. But how does any of this connect to the financial reality for the average person? Let's bring this whole story all the way back home.
Because all this massive wealth generation happening at the very top is occurring at the exact same time that a very, very different financial story is unfolding for millions of households. And the contrast, well, it's pretty staggering.
Let's just walk down this ladder together. We start at the top, a single company worth $3 trillion. Okay. Then we go to a single CEO's stock purchase, $1 billion. Now, let's zoom all the way into the household level. Over a quarter of new car buyers are underwater on their trade-ins, owing almost $7,000 on average. And finally, the median emergency fund for an American family? Just $500. A full 1 in 3 people have no emergency fund at all. This isn't just data, it's a snapshot of some deep financial fragility.
And these personal struggles are having a massive national impact. The economic data is weak enough that the Federal Reserve is now widely expected to announce its first interest rate cut of the year. The financial health of millions of households has become a key driver of economic policy at the very highest level.
So, let's pull all of these threads from our one single chaotic day together. We have immense corporate wealth, geopolitical conflicts fought through tech, powerful CEOs making billion-dollar moves, and widespread financial strain at home. It all leads to one big overarching question.
What we witnessed on this one day was a convergence, a merging of worlds. Tech companies are now as wealthy and influential as entire nations. Global politics are playing out in corporate negotiations over apps and microchips. The personal financial decisions of a few CEOs can ripple through the whole economy. And all of this is happening while the economic reality for corporations and for regular people is heading in two completely different directions.
And so it leaves us with this final, critical question. In a world where the lines between corporate power, political power, and individual influence are this blurry, who is truly steering the ship? Is it governments? Is it corporations? Is it a handful of powerful individuals? The events of just one day suggest that the answer is no longer simple at all. And the implications of that, well, they're going to shape all of our futures.